Hey Jonathan, welcome to the GAC RMHC Golf Classic. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. I'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's first of all take a look at your posture. You can see your spine is relatively nice and straight and on a tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Hang your arms down naturally out in front of you. The club works out to the ball. So starting posture is not too bad. I would refine it up a little bit now by sort of just throwing your tail out and up a hair, throwing your chest up and out a little, and ultimately what that's going to do, it's just going to straighten that spine a little bit more, probably put it on just a little bit more of an angle. We'll keep your legs unlocked exactly as they are. It's great. And then your arms are right now currently being held out in front of you a little bit. So I'd like to hang your arms down a little bit more just to get your hands a little closer to your thighs, increase the angle relationship between the arms and the golf club, and then from there let the club work out to the ball. So a real subtle adjustment there. Next thing we want to observe from this vantage point is the alignment. We can see your feet running in this direction here. Carry that out to the fairway. Theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera would have an appearance to converge, and under that philosophy we can see that we're sort of set up a little too far to the right. So we're setting up what's referred to as a little bit open. Now, not only are your feet going right, but obviously your knees should line up to where your feet are going, but also your arms and your shoulders are going that way as well. So probably going to want to swing the club a little bit from out to in due to the fact that your alignment is positioning you in that formation to swing the golf club from an out to in path. And we'll see that in a few seconds here. So let's do a little split screen comparison here between you and Jordan Spieth. Flip them over to the left hand. Now we've got some color-coded lines here on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. We can see with Jordan, as he initiates his takeaway, creates good shoulder rotation, bringing the arms and hands back as well as the club. We see the club coming back along the red line on plane. Through the early stages of the golf swing, we also want to establish some good wrist hinge into play. So right about in this area here, we're going to start transitioning the club head from being below and in front of our hands to now being above and behind our hands, so that the club is still on plane. From here, we're going to work the golf club from red up towards yellow. And when we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we want to have the right arm of the club either situated on the yellow line, anywhere between the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue, as we see with Jordan Spieth. We also want to create this motion about a very stable left leg and fully rotate our shoulders. So let's watch and see how you initiate your takeaway. You draw your hands back inside, so we can see the club coming definitely underneath and inside of your swing plane. Shoulders are turning. Definitely going to have to incorporate some wrist hinge for the club to recover and get back in a decent position. So that was really good right there. And the club's starting to recover and get back into a half decent position. So that's not too bad. Let's take this right up to the top and see where you set everything. So we can see once you get to the top of your backswing, excuse me, you've turned your shoulders quite well, about a stable left leg. Your arm geometry stays in pretty good position relative to your core, just meaning that the triangular position of your arms still looks good. The club is still in good position relative to your arms. You do have a tendency of letting your arms compress to your core a little. That just means that your left forearm is compressing to your bicep, and that's causing your right arm to break down a bit. Okay? So your arms are a little bit broken down and compressing to your core there. From here, and we can also see, that obviously you don't really set your arms in a steep enough position. I like to see that right arm get up a little higher, and at least just to the yellow line would be perfect. Okay? As we create our transition back into the ball, simply we want to move our weight from our left foot to our right. We want to fire the knees and the hips to the target, unwind the core, fire the hands, and in doing so, we got to make sure we're bringing the golf club from the blue-yellow V zone, wherever we've set it, back down on top of red. And that's exactly what we see here with Jordan Spieth. We can see the golf club has returned right back to being on plane. The other thing we want to observe at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead form and the golf club. refer to this as the check mark position. Simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind his hands coming into the hitting zone, and this is ultimately what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing. Aside from the fact that he's also going to hit the ball straight due to the fact that the club has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots. So let's watch you create your transition back into the ball from a fairly decent set position here. It's just slightly shallow and a little compressed with your arms. Let's go ahead and watch the transition. So you drop your hands and arms really nicely. Feet and knees are moving, so it looks good. And that looks great right there. So you're coming in, and basically what we can see, let me go one more frame, see if it goes too far. Not really. So let's back that up, and let's pay attention to your lead form and your golf clubs. So the nice thing is we have our backwards check mark. That's great. And then the other awesome thing is that the club is very close to right back being on plane. So this is beautiful. Let's go ahead and continue to track the club head coming into the ball. Let's see where it falls in the next frame. So it falls underneath. Club head still above and behind, so that's great. And next frame. So we attack the ball just slightly from underneath the plane line. Not that big of a deal. And I'd rather you be slightly underneath the plane than over top of the plane. So the only issue here is that when we do attack the ball from a little too far inside, the potential miss is going to be a block out to the left if we don't square the club face up. Because with Jordan, we can see that the golf club has returned back onto plane, and then he simply tracks into the golf ball directly from the red line, from on plane. And as I've already stipulated, this is what gives us the ability to hit a straight golf shot in accordance to our alignment, as long as the club face squares up via having a good grip. So three things we need in order to hit a straight ball are: we have to aim correctly, feet have to run parallel right of our target, club has to return to plane in order to hit the ball in accordance to that alignment, and then lastly the club face has to square up to have this all come together. So in your case, your alignment's pretty good. We noticed you were aiming a little to the right. We do see that your downswing plane's pretty solid, does sneak underneath the plane. So the good thing here is you could lose the ball a little left based on the fact that you're aiming a little right and everything's okay. The one thing I do want to point out that's critical in your golf swing is that we don't really have any movement from the top of our backswing from left foot to right foot. So the lower half isn't working correctly. We're not moving the weight laterally to the right. We're not posting up on our right leg. Our hips aren't getting open. So we can see with Jordan, just before he strikes the ball, where's his left heel? Yeah, it's off the ground. Where's your left heel? It's still on the ground. That tells us your weight is sitting back. So when Jordan swings through, what's going to happen here? Well, his left heel is going to keep coming off the ground. He's going to get up on the toe of his left foot. We're going to be able to count all the spikes in his left shoe. This allows his weight to get to his right side. His hips now square around and his shoulders fully rotate with the hands and the club back in behind him. So let's watch and see what you do through impact here and see if you end up creating any footwork at all. So really don't create any footwork through to the finish. You actually end up taking a step with your right foot. So you definitely want to learn how to incorporate proper footwork, and it really is a simple move. We're loaded at the top, weights on the left side. Go ahead, fire everything to the target. What do? Bring the left heel off the ground, get up on the toe of the left foot, and stand on our right side. So as long as you're creating that footwork with the back foot, the weight has to move to the right side. So that's one thing you definitely want to do in your golf swing, just to make sure your golf swing aesthetically looks better. It's more efficient, more natural, and obviously it'll allow you to get through to a better finish. Do want to look at your club face here as we're coming in from a pretty decent plane, or slightly from the inside. Let's see what your club face did. Okay, so your club face, yeah, it squares up pretty good there, and looks like you're just sort of blocking that ball out to the left a little bit, which is fine because again you're aiming a little too far to the right. So that's a nice little compensation. Just leave that club face squaring up, and the ball heads pretty much right towards your intended target. So that looks superb. Overall, you get some nice athletic qualities in your golf swing. Your hands work well. They come back and they fire through. You get pretty decent coil on the way back, and you uncoil through. Really need to see proper footwork. So I like to see proper footwork, and see you standing in a much better finishing position when you're done. Backswing plane comes back. Sure, arms compress a little, and you get a little shallow at the top of the backswing. So the ironic thing here is, if you get back to the top of your backswing and you get your right arm a little bit more steep. Remember I said I wanted a little higher up towards the yellow line? Well, notice that amount of movement just up, let's say, maybe about 6 inches or so. Well, that would correct the fact that your downswing plane's coming underneath the plane by about the same amount. Okay? So you would actually swing the golf club camouflaged on that red line if we just steepen out the top of the backswing. But because you're swinging the golf club on a reasonably good plane, you should be able to hit some good shots. Aesthetically, I mean, the number one thing for you for sure to make your golf swing look way better is just create the proper footwork through to your finish. Okay? Anyways, at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, I'm located over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking for a unique gift to give your guests, touch base. I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, hope you had a fantastic day, and I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video.